Welcome back to the British Football Guy, and we are in maybe our last, if not penultimate, of the fantasy football series and preview that we're doing, and it's a tight end one. So this is a game paid to poop. It should not take us longer than 10 minutes. If it does, I apologise to your pals. Now, I said, and Logan's back.
Hello.
From a few seconds ago. I said that this is a year for tight ends, and I've been watching fantasy football, or watching football realistically for the last 6 years, and I feel they've grown into position. So kind of from Gronkowski to Kelce, you had the and now I feel there's a new breed of even just the way that we're playing, from tight ends being able to block. George Kittle, that's pretty much the episode, right? That we just mentioned all the tight ends. But I think there's a different way to look at it, and I think it's so important when it comes to strategy on the tight ends. So there might not be much that we talk about in terms of players, but strategy is so important. So as always, we will walk through the top fives in what Draft Pros are putting for tight ends, and we'll see if we agree with them. So without a shadow of doubt, Travis Kelce, number one. I have a little story about Travis Kelce.
I don't want to hear it.
Oh,
just kidding. Go ahead.
Context-wise. So when our daughter was born just over a year ago, we were staying over at my in-laws, and Ritz was like, hey, can you wake up with Sailor in the morning? I was like, it is my morning off. I get one a week. So she'd get the early. And I was like, okay, I'll do you this. I will do it if you buy me a Travis Kelce jersey on Fanatics. And I thought, no chance. She's not going to buy it. Because like $120, that's how much she appreciates her sleep. So I have a Travis Kelce jersey because of that, which I much appreciated, that early wake up for 2 hours. But anyway, so Travis Kelce, number one. Georgie Kittle at number two. Darren Waller, 3. Mark Andrews, 4. And TJ Hawkinson, 5. I've got a few. I think that's number 2 for me in Georgie Kittle.
Yeah. And I would probably... There's a couple of tight ends that I would probably have up in the top 5. I really like Robert Tonyan from last year. Mm-hmm. And I think...
Amen.
I think they kind of shorted him in this lineup here. I don't know who he would replace. Maybe TJ Hawkinson, but with Jared Goff maybe moving there, he might have more options.
I think you're right. Well, look, fuck it. Just because we can do this quickly, my top 5 is Kelce, Waller, Kittle. Kelce, Waller, Pitts, Kittle, Tonyan.
So you're putting a lot of faith in Kyle Pitts then?
Oh,
for sure.
I was going to make a religious joke. More faith than a lot of people. Cancelled. Wait, what was the cancelled one? Is that cancelled or is this? I
mystery box.
I will get a cancel. That is a mystery. Dang it! Why don't we use that for the mystery? I will get a cancelled button. But no, yeah. I think I'm putting a lot of faith in Pitts. I'd even move Noah Fant up.
Oh, okay.
So I think, well, look, I'll go into it. I think Kelce, Kittle. Sorry, bullshit. No, I don't. I think Kelce, Waller.
Andrews isn't bad.
He's not, but he had games where he was a mystery man. There we go. There's a mystery box.
But I think that's that whole thing that we've been preaching in the last few episodes where you need that duo. And Jackson had a bad year last year. So if his support system isn't there, he's going to do poorly. Yeah. But he's got solid hands. A couple of other names, Rob Gronkowski, but I don't know if you'd put him in the top 5, maybe top 10, because tight ends are kind of short-suited, even though you claim them to be the year of the tight end. And then Mike Gesicki. If Tua plays really well this year, Mike could have a very impressive year, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, similar to the running backs, you can't forget your tight end this year.
Yeah.
Like it's a different year for tight ends, and I think Mike Gesicki is a very similar player to Mark Andrews because they will be gone wondering where they just have the 2 point games that you can get with Mark Andrews and Gesicki is the difference between winning and losing. So your strategy on tight end has to be so on point. And when I've been doing these mock drafts, I find myself drafting Darren Waller more and more in rounds 3. I don't want to do that, but Waller, similar as a tight end, he has games where he goes missing. But the games...
Derek Carr is a dark horse, it's hit or miss sometimes for him.
But, right, and I think sometimes he doesn't pass to Waller. And the 2 games, or I lost 2 games to Darren Waller this in one of the leagues last year, and he went off like 30 points and then won for 40 points. The game after, he did 8 points. So I think there's only one fix at tight end, and that's Kelce. This year, you're getting him in the first round. Last year and the year before, you're getting him in the second round. So if you're a 9 and 10 pick or a 12 and 14, if you're in a 12 league, Kelce's probably not going to be there, which is insane.
Yes.
If you're in a 10 league, take Kelce because it's a tight end sorted. We've already said the wide receiver is good, and then also, if you are like at number 10 and you're picking up Kelce, you can probably pick up like Green or, a really good running back. So in terms of strategy, and this is what we're probably going to spend more time about, is looking at value. So, what is your strategy going into tight ends this year? Because I do think it is the year of the tight ends, and I think it's just going to get progressively bigger.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with Travis Kelce, obviously. If you can pick him up pretty early...
Sidebar, how early would you draft Travis Kelce? Not based on his looks, based on his playing quality.
So if it was me, because of the differential between him and most any other tight end, if you're at the tail end of the first round, even, I would probably pick him up. If you're at the beginning of the lineup, I'd pick him early, second round, probably, myself.
He's not going to be there second round.
Yeah.
So in terms of like realistically, if you're in your first pick, what is the? Would you just not pick him up ever at first round? Because he's not going to be there at second.
I think you can get,
which is ridiculous,
more points from a running back probably as a first round pick. Don't get me wrong, Travis Kelce gets a lot of points, but there's a lot of running backs that consistently get more points than him, I would think.
But if you're completely right. But if you're looking at Kelce over Saquon Barkley,
well, with Saquon's injury, I'd probably pick Kelce, obviously. But
knowing that running backs are so, and this is it. This is probably out of all the episodes we've done, there's the strategy of what's going to win your leagues. I honestly think double down strategy is going to give you some room for error. But Kelce in the first round that he's going, because he's going to get a lot of the ball. He solves that tight end position because there's not that piece. You're going to have to find somebody for running back and you're going to have to find somebody for tight end. Wide receiver is deep.
Yeah.
So in these situations where you're against, would you take Zeke Elliott over Travis Kelce?
Probably not myself.
So you take Kelce or you take...
Yeah, I would take Kelce.
Right, and this is it. Because you're thinking, that slot is filled. I know running back is light, but could I pick DeAndre Swift as my running back 1 or Josh Jacobs as a kind of a 1 and 2? I'd be probably happy with that. So
sure.
This is why I think the Kelce Conundrum. It's a Netflix show. It's about dating problems that he works out in Kansas. It's a good show. We're actually sponsored by the Kelce Conundrum this week. That's where your value is, and I think put more. It solves a problem.
If you can get yourself a Kelce, I'm sure.
Yeah. Unless it's a ballerina.
Yes. The only other
country joke. Where's the dad? Where's the dad joke button?
I'll not that one.
No, that's the Kelce ballerina button.
Some interesting things to note too is Zach Ertz isn't in even the top 15 on pros list. He has been very unhappy at the Eagles, it sounds like. So it would be interesting to see if he gets moved. But I don't think he could go wrong with Jalen Hurts being his QB.
Is a running QB, though? That's the thing, right?
That is, I guess, a major issue there. But if Jalen Hurts can work on his throwing, it might not be terrible. But I don't know.
I'd hope he does as a quarterback. It must be one of his kind of objectives to work on.
I hope that they would work on his throwing as a QB.
So you'd pick Mark Andrews? Who would you be happy with having a tight end as your team?
I myself, knowing that Travis Kelce has such big sway and probably wouldn't be there when I got the chance to pick him up, I would probably then go for Robert Tonyan, especially with Aaron Rodgers being his quarterback. He did pretty well last year, if I'm remembering
They like
correctly.
Tonyan. So Kittle and Tonyan are best buds. So they actually train in the off-season together.
He's a big dude. I mean, obviously you don't get points for blocking and stuff, but he has solid hands.
You should.
I know, right?
Oh, my God.
You should get points for the blocks you set up that
in fantasy, at least.
That lead to yards.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who else I would kind of lean towards. Higbee, maybe.
Yep.
I don't know how well he would do with Stafford, but that's another option.
Yeah.
And then another free agent right now is Tyler Eifert. He did okay at the Bengals. I don't know if anyone's really looking to pick up tight ends right now, even though all he keeps saying is the year of the tight end.
Would you ever do a strategy where you're almost like forfeiting that tight end position?
I've done it, and it's not worked out well for me. Because, I mean, obviously, Kelce has such a high ceiling compared to pretty much most other tight ends, right? You're going to have a differential there if you're matched up against somebody who has him. I don't know where I would, if Kelce's gone, right? Man.
Where'd you wait? Where'd you draft your tight end? Knowing that Kittle, don't get Kittle, but Waller's going in 3, Pitts is going in 5, 4, and sometimes in 4.
4th round?
I think you go for Tonyan.
Yeah.
Because you like him, your friends.
I think you got to go with Tonyan. I mean, he's probably one of the top options that isn't in the top 10.
Do you follow him on Instagram?
Or I guess he is number 9, but I do not.
I think he'd be quite fun to follow on Instagram.
Probably.
Yeah.
He seems like a partier.
I think you got your guy, Tonyan.
I think he's another good option that's not in the top 5. They're a good value, kind of maybe a sleeper.
If you
possibly
get drunk during your draft and you forget about tight end, oh shit, Tonyan's going to be available. I think he's going to be valued. I think Tonyan's a tip, and my Tonyan is Fant, who's just above him at 8.
Yeah.
Noah Fant was one of the Broncos picks. I don't know if it was a first round, but he was like a second round high pick for the Broncos. And Fant is, I think, is the real deal.
We're obviously dancing around Rob Gronkowski as well.
Man, there's no dancing around Rob Gronkowski. He dances.
He does all the dancing.
He does all the dancing. No, he's not worth it. Not when you
don't think so anymore?
Because you've got to think wide receivers for the Bucks, Brown.
But with that relationship that he's had with Tom Brady all those years, even last year,
you don't get points for relationships.
I know, but he still had that connection with Tom Brady that led to a number of touchdowns last year. Maybe not like in his prime, but it's probably not worth looking over.
So I think Kelce gets you a stable 18 points every game.
Yes.
What are you happy with in a stable points?
For a tight end position? I think I'd probably shoot for like 10, right? 10. You're looking for like a decent number of yards and then a nice chip shot touchdown from like the 10 yards or something.
Did you know that there's a tight end called Logan Thomas, which is like a few letters away from your whole name? This is you at Washington.
I know. Maybe I should just draft him for the good luck.
You should. I mean, he's 12. He's above Gronkowski.
But then you have the problem of the duo and having like Fitzmagic being like,
well, you like Fitzmagic too.
I know.
Dreams can be made. Well, let's close on the tight end strategy here because it's a really important one. If you don't get Kelce, so if you're in the first 1 to 6 picks, you're going to either take one of the top 4 running backs, fuck Zeke, don't take Saquon because of his injuries. You're going to take a Tyreek or Adams. So that's putting you at 7, where you're really in the Kelce zone.
Yeah, he's up there for sure.
Think about taking him. If you're not in love with anybody else around him, take Kelce. And then that position's done, and then you're going to take a running back that's stronger. And then also, if you do get the Kelce option, go for Mahomes.
Yeah, double up.
And double up on that one.
Since we're talking about how deep the wide receiver is, it's probably not much of a focus in that first round.
Right. So if you get Kelce, go for Mahomes. Mm-hmm. If you get a Waller, don't go for Derek Carr. Yeah, I think if I don't get Kelce, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get Kelce, even though I do try and draft him every year, I'd be looking at Pitts, Fant, and Tonyan as value. And I like Gesicki. I think Gesicki's a good option as well. Any final thoughts on the tight end?
No, I think we covered it all. It's pretty short. Get yourself a Kelce.
Get yourself a Kelce. Perfect. All right. Thanks for listening. That is maybe the end of our fantasy series. We'll see if we do a 2-minute episode on kickers and defense.
We should.
All right. Okay, we will. Okay. Thanks for listening.